Stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports app. All right, Knicks and the Hawks. Knicks took 2 or 3 from Atlanta. You look at each of the rosters. Knicks have a heck of a lot more playoff experience. There's no Trae Young on this team anymore, obviously. Atlanta made a lot of moves. They had an incredible stretch in the last quarter of the season, at one point winning 18 out of 20, but they don't have a big man. They don't have a lot of playoff experience. What do you think?
Hey, every matchup is not going to be easy in the NBA playoffs. Teams are there for a reason. This Hawks team, they're talented. The Knicks are better. You saw it all season long. The Knicks are going to go in heavy favorites, but you have to respect this team. This team is hungry. This team is going to go after the Knicks. The playoffs are a totally different ballgame. I know you look at the 3 meetings, Knicks went 2-1 against them, and you try to read into it a little bit. But at the same time, the preparation is so much different from an 82-game regular season. You have full books of what you're handling, how you're attacking, how you're defending. So the Knicks have home court, too. That's another big advantage. So this is going to be a fun series, though. It really is.
Hawks may not be that big, but remember this last game, 108-105, Knicks 103. The Hawks had 19 offensive rebounds.
Yep.
So they got a Kongwu as their big guy at 6'10", and they have a lot of athletic wings that surround him, and yet they still went for 19 offensive rebounds in the last meeting against the Knicks.
Yeah, and this team, made a big trade, unloading Trae Young. They gave him away to the Washington Wizards, and they got a little bit more veteran. McCollum's a guy who's been in the playoffs. He can make big shots. He's their go-to guy. But the Knicks are going to devise schemes to take him out of this series, and they're going to defend him differently than maybe they defended him in the regular season. There's going to be a whole different game plan. And listen, series take on a different kind of mold and mindset. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Knicks just have to be ready to go in Game 1, set the tone, come out at home, and dominate, and go from there.
In that last game, they just played the last handful of games when the Knicks won by 3. We talked in the postgame show about how the fact the Knicks have an advantage because they have the closers.
Yeah.
Atlanta's got a lot of skill, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker in that game went for 36.
He's good.
And as good as he is, though, I don't think you can count on him going for 35 on a regular basis.
Well, you would think the Knicks are going to defend him, try to take him away, not give him any airspace, any looks. They're going to learn from that performance that he's very capable of going off and doing stuff like that. But then you got to worry about someone else stepping up off the bench. The preparation level will be there by the Knicks. I am just concerned about how the Knicks are playing. And right now, the Knicks are playing some of their best basketball of the season. They have a better record than they did last year, a better offensive rating, better defensive rating going into the playoffs, despite the fact the panic button has been hit quite a few times this season. This team is more prepared to have success in the playoffs, in my opinion, than they were last year.
And why is that?
Just because they're statistically a better team. They have a better record overall. They have a deeper bench. They have the same starting unit that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost in a Game 6. And they added a lot of pieces to the back end of their bench. So they have much more depth. They can play much more different ways. So as a result, that's going to, I think, fare very favorably in a playoff-type scenario and series scenario.
The one thing about the bench, and we talked about it earlier in the show, this is a bench, unlike last year, that's used to playing.
Right. Exactly.
Whoever has been in the rotation, whether it's been Alvarado in or out or Clarkson in or out, Mike Brown always plays 8 or 9 guys.
Right.
And the guys that come off the bench don't just play 3 minutes.
No.
They play 15 minutes, 18 minutes, 20 minutes.
And they've played starter minutes at times. Deuce McBride has played like a starter. Shamet has played like a starter. Mitchell Robinson could be a starter if he needed to. He could play. He could be a legitimate starting 5 in this league on any other team in the NBA, if you wanted to utilize him in that form in that way. So the Knicks have a very potent squad. It's a very deep squad, but it's not going to be easy. Every series is a war. Every series is a battle. That Hawks team, they think they can win. You go into a series like this thinking that we can win no matter who we're playing. So the Knicks have to be ready to play at a high level in order to advance and move on.
It's a veteran group. Tons of expectations. Does that weigh in on anybody's outlook coming into the playoffs?
You love the expectations. That's what you live for in professional sports. That's what you live for in the NBA. You want to have championship aspirations. That's the only reason you play this game as a professional, is to win a ring. So the Knicks are embracing it. With expectations comes a big-time luxury for this coaching staff to have. They're going to have to make some tough decisions who's going to be getting into rotation and who's not in the playoffs, but that's a good problem to have.
Also had Kevin McCullough Jr. career high 12.
Yes.
And Pacom Dadier had a career high 12. We mentioned Deuce McBride. You talked about him, 21 points. He's our FanDuel thrilling moment presented by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on. 21 points for him. That's the most he's scored in a game, Wally, since the middle of January. He's had all kinds of injury problems. This could be huge for him, getting ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, and he was really good all season long, knocking down shots. Not just a couple threes. He had high volume makes during the course of the year. He looks athletic right there. You know, coming off any injury and missing as much time as you did, it takes a little bit of time to get into your rhythm, to gain your timing back. And when you're a role player especially, coach, you can see, trusts him to put him back into the rotation immediately when he came back into the lineup. But now to get yourself playing at that level that you know you're capable of playing after the injury and after the surgery, that's a great sign for this team and a great sign for Deuce.
All right, well, let's say hello to Monica McNutt. Joins us now on the court as always after the game. Help call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, regular season finale. What are you thinking about?
I'm really proud, and I enjoyed running with this team so that they could take care of their own destiny, so that tonight you had ample opportunity to see guys that you don't usually see in the rotation. And so even though that one was a little wonky and obviously it is a loss, what needed to be taken care of and handled has been handled. And so I think tonight is a really cool celebration. We saw the end of the game festivities, appreciating the fans, and now we are on to either Atlanta or Toronto. Like you said, Pito, we're waiting to see.
You know, it's interesting. We saw Jordan Clarkson come out of the rotation, and when he got back in the rotation, played really well. Jose Alvarado lost his spot in the rotation, Monica, but for the second straight game, he was excellent. He was really good as a starter the other night against Toronto, started again in this one and went for 16 points. Yeah,
listen, Jose Alvarado is a guy that's going to make the most out of every opportunity that's put in front of him. That is how he became an NBA player. That's how he has maintained a career as an NBA player. The energy that he brings to the court is undeniable. It is the thing that he believes separates himself from his colleagues and his counterparts and makes him stand out in how he brings value to a team. And I thought you saw that tonight. It's also particularly good when you get to see him get going from the three-point line. A decently efficient performance there tonight, 4 of 9 from the three-point line. And, of course, you mentioned the defense, Pito, and the energy as well.
And I really believe that matchups are going to dictate who gets minutes against what team. I remember when I played for Mike Brown my last year in 2009, we were playing against the Pistons in round 1. I didn't get off the bench. I didn't play at all because they didn't feel like it was a good matchup with me guarding Tayshaun Prince when I came. Then the second round when we played Atlanta, I was matched up with Murray, and I played 25 minutes in that series. So sometimes who's going to play off the bench in certain matchups is determined by who you're playing against. And I think now Mike Brown has a lot of different options to go in different directions with who he's going to play against according to what team you're matched up against.
You know, you compare last year to this year, Monica, Knicks won more games during this regular season, but the depth seems to be in much better shape going into the playoffs. Because even if Alvarado's not in the mix, he's an option, and you got Shamet and Mitchell Robinson and Dukes McBride and Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. That's a pretty solid 9.
I agree with that, Pito, and you talk about the depth. It's a mentality also to go to the depth, right? To Wally's point, what is the matchup? What can I get out of this moment? What is the situation, right? We know that the coaching staff of all the teams that are going to go on to the postseason, they're studying play-by-play, situation-by-situation. And so if there is a moment for a Jose Alvarado, Grand Theft Alvarado sort of high risk, high reward steal that might energize a team, like we don't know exactly what is to come when it comes to these matchups, but to have confidence, to have notes, to have research on all of your guys and what they are capable of in big moments. I mean, who knows? Remember, during the regular season, Kevin McCullough, one of his best games, his best game probably until tonight, was in Atlanta, and that was out of nowhere as well. Yes, the pressure and the intensity levels up in the postseason, but the only way to instill confidence in your guys that you might be able, or that you do have confidence in the event that their name is going to be called, is by giving them opportunities like this, encouraging them, and making sure that they are on the same page as everybody else that plays their customary amount of minutes.
Last question here when we talk about the rotation. They have Mitchell Robinson come off the bench, but everybody else is a small-ish wing/guard. Is there enough size?
I think
if you don't play Diawara, for example.
Well, if you need size, you play Diawara.
Or you can go Mitch and Cat together.
Right. And you have...
And Huck Porty can still use some minutes, too.
Right. Yes. No, you're 100% right. And I think it's great to have a legitimate backup point guard also. Like Alvarado, when you need someone to spell Jalen Brunson, and handle the team, not turn the ball over, get the game organized, that is a very valuable thing that this team picked up at the trade deadline, and that is going to be very important in the playoffs. You need ball handlers in the playoffs that can run the offense and take care of the ball, and that was huge. So Jose Alvarado has to stay ready, because no matter, there's going to be a time where he's going to play huge minutes and he's going to have to run the team.
Monica, we'll see you next weekend when the playoffs start. Not sure exactly who the Knicks are going to open up against, but you'll be on the radio with Tyler Murray on ESPN New York. And remember, we have pre- and post-game coverage right here for every game the Knicks play in the postseason. Monica, we'll see you next week, okay?
Sounds good.
Just hit a 3. They lead the Magic by 3.
Ooh.
The Wally Zerbiak lookalike.
Yep.
Garza.
Garza
with a 3. Highlights coming up here on the 150. When you look at the Knicks, we've detailed, and in the pregame we talked about a lot of pregames. Issues in the first quarter. But their net rating in the fourth quarter this year, best ever. They started keeping that stat 96, 97. Knicks net rating in the fourth quarter this year, 11.6, plus 11.6. Helps to have Captain Clutch, and that's going to be obviously a key factor in the playoffs.
Key, and it's also the coaching staff reading the game, making adjustments. So in the fourth quarter, they know the matchups they want, they know how to attack, and they know what matchups they want defensively. That's a great number with this team learning on the fly in the middle of games. You know, Captain Clutch gets it done. That was a huge shot coming off a back-to-back right after the All-Star break when the Knicks needed a big win, and they were kind of dragging. They were a little tired. Jordan Clarkson, big shots in the NBA Cup. You know, I think that really carried through winning that NBA Cup, showing how this team is very good at the end of games and in the fourth quarter. This was a Christmas Day comeback miracle, where the Knicks were down, I think, 17 or 18 in the fourth quarter, ended up coming back against the Cavs. Good team in the East, winning that game. They torched the Denver Nuggets in that one, and this was the Josh Hart display where he just went, I don't know, he just went unconscious, in the zone, in your face. Take that with you, Boston Celtics, in the fourth quarter. And he did have 1 rebound in that game, though. We remember that. We'll always remember that, too. I don't know if it was in the fourth quarter, but he did only have 1 rebound.
Moving right along.
Okay.
What we saw in the regular season of the fourth quarter, it's a veteran group. How important is it to have that confidence, knowing that you can do that, even though this group has played a lot of playoff games, but doing so well this year and then carrying it over into the playoffs?
It's huge. It's every game comes down, you think, as a player, it's going to come down to possessions in the last 5 minutes. And you know the better team normally will win out in those type of games. And having that type of confidence is paramount. Having the cohesion that this team has is very important. This is pretty much the same starting lineup as last year. It is the same starting lineup as last year. So they've been in the battles. They've been in those close games. They've pulled out wins when you didn't think it was possible. And they've blown leads and then all of a sudden turned it on in the last 5 minutes and won games. And that's not easy to do. So this team has seen everything. They have the chemistry to get it done in the fourth quarter. No guarantee that it's going to happen. You have to go out there and do it. That's the beauty of sports. Just because you've done it in the past doesn't guarantee you're going to do it in the future. But this team at least knows that they can look back and they can fall back on a lot of success in crunch time and in the fourth quarters.
All right. So the Knicks,